So, you've been trying semen retention for so fucking long, months and months and months, and you've never, not quite, mastered it 100%. You can't successfully say to yourself, yeah, if I wanted to, I could stay on semen retention without relapsing once. I could successfully do that. If you can't say that to yourself, you need this video. So pay attention, listen in. I'm not going to waste your time. Number one, why you keep failing semen retention is the mind. And obviously, the mind comes before anything. What you must also understand is your mind and body are linked. They are in harmony. They are synced together. So if you have your mind mastered, but your body isn't where it needs to be, it's not in alignment, then you're not going to achieve the outcome that you want. So just keep that in mind when I'm mentioning these tactics and these little tips and stuff, because you have to have them both sorted, and just ask yourself, question yourself and say, right, I'm doing the body exercises, but is my mind, is my mind quite negative? Is my mind elsewhere? Maybe that's the problem. So just keep that in mind, right? Number one is your mind. Now, a lot of guys will say, yeah, I'm on semen retention, I'm not ejaculating, I'm holding my seed in, but then they're still sat there thinking about sex. They're still sat there circulating sexual energy from their mind by fantasizing, by thinking about girls, by thinking about sex, by thinking about, sexual situations in their brain. What this does is it trains you to build up sexual energy. If you are closing your eyes right now and you think of a sexual thought in vivid detail, you literally imagine yourself like fucking a girl, right? I know it's vulgar, but just do it. You're going to feel aroused. You're going to feel sexual energy building up, most likely in your genitals, because that's what you've trained yourself to do habitually through masturbation. Now, when you are going about your day-to-day life, maybe you'll see a girl in the gym and she looks quite attractive. She's wearing some revealing clothing. You'll subconsciously just start imagining yourself fucking that girl, because that's what you've trained yourself to do through bad porn habits, bad masturbation habits. That's what you've trained yourself to do. Now, what happens is if you constantly think about sex all day in your brain, or you constantly have some sort of sexual related thoughts in your mind, or you're thinking about how, oh my God, this is really intense, I'm feeling really aroused, whatever, your mind is associated to sex in one way or another, you are building up sexual energy. You're building up arousal. And because of masturbation, because of porn, because of your poor habits over the years, over literally years of your childhood, of your teenage, adolescent years, whatever, you have trained that energy to just go straight down to the genitals. So every time you think of a sexual thought, it goes straight down there, and that's why you feel aroused. That's why you feel turned on. That's why you start getting hard, right? What you must do to stop this is basically just stop fantasizing, stop thinking about sexual thoughts. If you're on semen retention, you are not releasing, therefore you have no reason to be thinking of sexual thoughts. The point of semen retention is to focus your energy and your thoughts and your focus elsewhere. Every thought that you have creates something. A thought is very powerful, really is. Everything that you see around you, man-made, was created from a thought, okay? So just keep that in mind. You are creating this sexual energy. You are building this sexual energy up with your own brain. So stop engaging in fantasies, in sexual thoughts, in any sort of sexual imagery in your brain at all. Cut that out. As soon as you get it, cut it out, and then you can do a body practice, because again, all it takes is literally a fraction of a second, and then you'll start building up the energy. Even if right now I put a thumbnail of a girl wearing revealing clothing, you see that will instantly trigger your arousal, your sexual stimulus in your brain, and it will start building up sexual energy, which is why over time you find it so hard not to relapse. You find it so intense to the point where you literally cannot think about anything else. It's because you are not circulating that energy. So what happens is, if I think of a sexual thought right now, even if it's for a split second, sometimes you can't help it. This is why I'm mentioning it, because sometimes you can't help it. It will just come into your mind. Maybe you'll see something sexy, whatever. That arousal will build up in your genitals. What you must do then is just acknowledge it, cut the thought dead, back in the present moment, and then you do step 2, which is the body. Well, I said before, the mind and body are linked. There's no point cutting out complete sexual thoughts if your body is still what I'm about to tell you now, right? So number 1 in the body is transmuting your sexual energy. So what this means is every single time you feel aroused, you are going to feel that energy building up, building up, building up, building up. And before you know it, you're going to have to release it in one way or another. Now, what you can do to combat this is transmute the energy. Now, energy has to be released. It has to go somewhere. It can't just stay. Because what it is it's just building up, building up, building up. And because of your masturbation habits, it's building up down there. And naturally, because that's what you've trained yourself to do, is release through ejaculation, you're going to find the urge to just ejaculate. So instead of this, you need to retrain your brain every single time you get aroused to circulate the energy throughout your entire body. Rather than letting it build up down there, you know where, bruv. you circulate it through your entire energy with some breathing exercises, with some meditative exercises. I teach these in my coaching in the description below. Absolutely life-changing, so I don't see why you've not already invested in it. This is literally all you need to never, ever, and I guarantee that, never relapse again. That's not some bullshit sales tactic. That's not some over-exaggeration. If you learn how to move energy throughout your entire body and then go and use it in the real world, how can you ever relapse again? It's literally impossible. Do you understand? Because you're using the energy, and that's a thing a lot of guys forget, is they say to themselves, you know when guys say, oh, semen retention gives you energy. It doesn't give you energy just by not releasing your seed. It gives you energy by circulating the energy, right? So with that being said, coaching's down below. You can go and check that out if you want to learn how to circulate your energy. Part 2 of the body practices is simply just keeping your body relaxed. A lot of you guys are walking around, and I do it myself. It's something that I'm trying to work on. And it's just day-to-day life and, you know, thoughts in your brain and stuff like that. But we're walking around very tense, very stricted up, like contracted all the time. Even watching this, maybe your abs are contracted. You don't even realise it, but your abs are contracted. You're kind of sucking them in a little bit. Let your abs just bloat out. Let your body just relax. Relax your pelvic floor muscles as well. Relax those. Relax everything. Relax your entire body. Because what happens is when you are tensed, you're putting yourself in a sympathetic nervous system state of being. Now what this means, that's basically fight or flight, right? Now obviously you're doing this in a very mild way. It's a very mild state of fight or flight, but it's still fight or flight nonetheless. Which is why when you get aroused, which is natural, there's nothing wrong with you getting aroused every now and then when you see a sexual girl walking, a sexy girl walking. There is nothing wrong with you feeling the urge to release your seed. There is nothing wrong with you feeling the urge to fuck. You are a grown man with testosterone coursing through his veins. That is natural, and actually I'd be quite worried if you didn't feel the urge. So stop trying to suppress the urge and just simply understand how to use it, how to move the energy, circulate it, keep yourself relaxed, and go and use that energy in the real world, in the gym or on the run or in your business, mental energy, creative energy, etc. The reason I never run out of ideas is because for the most part, unless I'm with a girl, I'm not releasing my seed. I'm circulating energy. So I'm circulating it creatively as well. I just constantly, ideas are just flowing towards me. My energy is open to the universe. And again, you must relax your body in order for your energy to flow and be open. Getting quite spiritual now, but stay with me, right? There's practical steps to this as well. So, okay, you're keeping your body relaxed. Again, back to the point of sympathetic nervous system. If you are in a fight or flight state of being, and you feel aroused and your sexual energy builds up, you're naturally going to feel the need to release it, because ejaculation is caused by the sympathetic nervous system. You can only ejaculate when your body is in a state of sympathetic nervous system, which is why when you ejaculate, your body tenses up. Maybe you hold your breath, maybe you suck your abs in, whatever. That is why, because your body is in a sympathetic nervous system. So if you're walking around day-to-day life and you're tensed up and you're stressed and you're worried about this and thinking about that and anxiety and all this kind of bullshit, you're tensing your muscles all the time, that is going to cause you to just naturally need to ejaculate, because that's what you're putting your body in that state, right? So let's recap. Mind. Avoid sexual thoughts. Obviously there's a lot more to it, and I'll teach it very in-depthly in the coaching, because it's quite personal, and a lot of the things we'll be talking about might be quite embarrassing for you to speak about with anybody else, but that's what I'm here for, right? You can't really go and talk to your dad or your mum about semen retention and mastering your sexual energy and not touching yourself. Like, it's just weird, isn't it? So that's what I'm there for. But to recap, mind. Control your mind. Meditate. Don't allow those sexual thoughts in. I know it's not 100% possible all of the time. Sometimes it's going to happen. You are a man. It's normal for it to happen. However, if you feed into it, if you allow it to play out, if you allow that sexual imagery to continue in your brain, it's going to keep building up sexual energy, and you're just naturally going to have to release it. If you do need to release it, you can release it inwardly, which is body practices. That's step 2. Body practices, again, breathing, meditating, moving the energy through your body, keeping yourself relaxed, making sure you're in a parasympathetic nervous system, which is the relaxed state of being. Make sure you're operating in a parasympathetic nervous system on a day-to-day basis. You'll find it very easy to just crack on without any sexual temptations. And finally, the last step, why you keep failing semen retention, is because you're not giving yourself freedom of choice. You're telling yourself, I'm not allowed to release my seed. I'm not allowed to ejaculate. I'm not allowed to do this. I'm not allowed to do that. And again, no disrespect to any religion. I believe religion is a beautiful thing. I'm not religious myself, I'm more spiritual. I wouldn't say I'm an atheist, but I'm spiritual. I just believe in energy connection, right? That's my higher power, is just the universe, not really God, but it's the same kind of thing in a sense, right? But no disrespect to religion. However, what I found with a lot of religious individuals in personal experience, but also just from like reference points and stuff like that, is that when you tell yourself you are not allowed to do something, it often makes you want to do the thing that you're not allowed to do. So if I tell you you're not allowed to ever drink alcohol, ever, part of your brain as a human being is going to want to drink alcohol. Maybe it's curiosity, maybe it's just to break the rules, maybe it's to break free from constraint or authority, whatever it may be. We have a tendency as humans to crave freedom, to just chase freedom. So if you're telling yourself, I'm not allowed to release my seed, I'm not allowed to ejaculate, you're putting pressure on yourself, and you're going to find that you naturally just gravitate towards the opposite of what you want to do. So give yourself the freedom of choice. In your brain, accept, I'm allowed to do whatever I want to do. I've got free will. That's the point of me being here. That's what Allah, God, the universe, whatever put me here to do, is to have free will and experience life at my own will. Okay? So tell yourself, right, I'm allowed to ejaculate. I'm allowed to masturbate. I'm allowed to watch porn. I'm allowed to do whatever it is that I want to do. However, what you choose to do is important. So I'm allowed to ejaculate. I'm allowed to release my seed even on semen retention. However, I choose not to. I choose to keep my seed in. That's the difference. It's a mindset thing. You have to give yourself the freedom of choice. A lot of addicts stay addicted to their substance because they're not giving themselves freedom. They're saying to themselves, I'm never allowed to touch alcohol again. I'm never allowed to touch drugs again. I'm never allowed to smoke again. They're telling themselves that as if they're not allowed to do it. Now, when you do that, you're going to naturally just go back to it. Again, we love freedom. So tell yourself, right, I'm allowed to smoke. I'm allowed to watch porn. I'm allowed to do whatever the fuck I want to do. But I don't want to do those things. Therefore, I'm not going to do it. I choose not to. That's the difference. So allow yourself the choice of ejaculating or not, and then choose not to do it. That is how you stay consistent on semen retention. Keep that in mind. Again, coaching's down below if you want to learn more in-depthly on this topic. This was very brief. It was very generic. It was very, you know, generalized. But there's a lot more to this, and I'd love to share it with you in the coaching down below. Come and see me. Come and talk to me. And I'll save you the years of hardship I've had to learn this shit. Best investment you'll ever make. Guaranteed after 60 minutes, you will be a changed man. Look after yourself. Stay safe. And I'll see you soon. Bye.